Welcome to the Local Action Plan informational video series, which has been developed as a resource for local governments on behalf of Drive Electric Tennessee, a statewide multi-stakeholder collaborative working to drive electric vehicle adoption to 200,000 vehicles in Tennessee by 2028. Associated recommendations and a series of proposed projects and initiatives that can assist in accomplishing these goals are presented in the Drive Electric Tennessee Roadmap, which can be found at the website at driveelectrictn.org. The Local Action Plan video series will serve as a guide in how to design electric vehicle policies, programs, and goals that cities and other local players can enact to drive electric vehicle adoption. It will also provide helpful information to assist you and your city in evaluating and pursuing municipal fleet electrification. I'm Laurel Creech, Assistant Director of Sustainability for the Department of General Services for Metro Nashville Government. I also serve as co-chair of the Policy and Programs Committee for Drive Electric Tennessee, along with Alexa Wojtek from the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. Our committees work diligently to research and gather information that will be useful for you, whether you're just beginning to transition to electric vehicles or you're already leading the way. This first chapter is an overview of the benefits of transportation electrification, which we hope you will view in its entirety. Following are chapters on specific topics that dive deeper into strategies and best practices for adopting electric vehicle policies and incentives, developing a publicly accessible charging infrastructure network, or implementing a fleet electrification plan. As a city works towards electrifying its fleet, a common theme amongst fleet operators is the ongoing evaluation of the performance of their vehicles, either to improve usage, acquire new vehicles, or plan for replacement, all the while keeping an eye on costs. The variety of light-duty electric vehicles available today and their considerably lower costs for fueling and maintenance over time make them ideal for many fleet applications, particularly for those organizations seeking to reduce their carbon footprint. There are many benefits of electric vehicles, which we'll dive in a little deeper into shortly. First, let's talk about why electric vehicle goals for the state of Tennessee are important. At the time the Drive Electric Tennessee Roadmap was developed, back in 2017, global sales of new plug-in electric vehicles, or EVs, passed the 1 million vehicle mark, while the total number of electric cars on the road worldwide surpassed 3 million. The introduction of long-range battery EV as a more reasonable price point has further boosted market adoption. However, the United States lags behind China and Europe in EV market share, and Tennessee lags behind other states that have set more ambitious policies. Further, here in Tennessee, the EV population is currently less than 0.1% of the total light-duty vehicle market, which means we have a lot of work to do towards meeting the Drive Electric Tennessee goals. The good news is that EV adoption is gaining strength statewide. EV sales are increasing and the amount of publicly available EV infrastructure is growing. In addition, newer EVs that have recently been introduced to the market have ranges of up to 300 miles, which alleviates the range anxiety that customers and city fleet managers have been concerned about. Second, it's important to understand what an electric vehicle is. Electric cars come in 3 main types with differing power systems designed to meet varying driving needs. They are fuel cell, battery electric, plug-in hybrid electric cars. Battery electric cars are all electric and don't use gasoline. They have a large battery that powers 1 or more electric motors. Currently, battery electrics have a driving range of about 80 to over 300 miles, with ranges increasing as new models are introduced. In addition to driving past the gas station, battery electrics don't require much maintenance compared to the all-gas vehicles. Charging a battery electric car can be done at home using a standard 120-volt or 240-volt housing plug, or away from home or at a public workplace charging station. One benefit of battery electric cars over plug-in hybrids is the capability to use DC fast chargers, which provide more than 100 miles of range in just 30 minutes. Plug-in hybrid electric cars offer both gas-only and electric-only driving, even at relatively high speeds. With smaller batteries than battery electrics, plug-in hybrids achieve an electric-only range of 20 to 55 miles, during which they produce no tailpipe emissions. When the cars use up the electric range, it switches to gas and drives just like a conventional vehicle. A fuel cell electric car runs on electricity, but does so differently than battery electric cars or plug-in hybrids. Its power system is composed of numerous cells combined like a stack that chemically combine hydrogen gas from the car's tank and oxygen from the air to produce electricity. Fuel cell vehicles have a driving range of about 300 to 400 miles in a single tank and can be refueled in about 5 minutes at hydrogen fueling stations. There are currently no publicly available hydrogen refueling stations at this time in Tennessee. The third item is, as a local government moves towards electrification, an important component to consider is the creation of a transportation electrification plan to provide an overall framework and roadmap for community-wide transportation electrification. The plan can incorporate different elements to guide actions in the month to come. To learn more about how to develop your own electrification plan or to improve your existing plan, visit the subsequent chapters of this Local Action Plan video series. Now that you have an overview of electric vehicles, let's dive a little deeper into what benefits there are of EVs, costs and analysis of EVs and non-EVs, and different types of EV fleets that a city government consider as part of the overall electrification plan.
By engaging in and spearheading transportation electrification efforts, local governments can improve transportation sector efficiency, reduce vehicle emissions and the related carbon footprint to improve local air quality and mitigate against climate change, and enhance the resiliency of the transportation sector through the diversification of available fuels. By working locally to advance affordable, domestic transportation fuels, energy-efficient mobility systems, and other fuel-saving technologies and practices, we can simultaneously reduce energy costs within the transportation sector, promote economic growth, and improve environmental quality. I'm going to be discussing some of the primary benefits that could be used to secure buy-in from decision makers or stakeholders when framing your transportation electrification strategy. Which of these benefits resonates with you and the goals of your community, and how can these benefits be leveraged to drive EV adoption by your local government? The first benefit that I will discuss is reducing emissions and improving air quality. The transportation sector is responsible for both the highest percentage of Tennessee's end-use energy consumption and the largest source of the state's greenhouse gas emissions. Greater adoption of electric vehicles, which have zero tailpipe emissions and which leverage our clean electricity generation mix, 60% of which comes from carbon-free sources including hydropower, nuclear, and renewables such as solar, can play a huge role in reducing our transportation-related emissions and improving air quality. Such efforts can help local governments meet sustainability and/or carbon reduction goals. The next benefit that I'll be discussing is health. Improved air quality from reductions in transportation-related emissions can have a significant impact on human health and can improve in quality of life for all. The process of burning gas or diesel is responsible for the emission of a wide range of health-affecting pollutants. Unborn and newborn children, people with chronic illnesses, and the elderly are most at risk from their effects. The major pollutants from internal combustion vehicles include particulate matter, volatile organic compounds, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, greenhouse gases, and sulfur dioxide. A study by the University of Oxford found that health-related costs of diesel vehicles were 20 times greater than for plug-in electric vehicles, and that switching 1 million cars from diesel to electric would save more than $470 million in health costs from local air pollution per year. The next benefit I'll discuss is economic development. Tennessee is already at the forefront of electric vehicle automotive manufacturing. We have a robust automotive sector in Tennessee that can benefit from the boom in electric vehicle or related parts manufacturing. In fact, Tennessee claims more than 37% of the Southeast region's electric vehicle manufacturing jobs and investment compared to its 11% share of the region's population. Electric vehicles have the ability to support our communities by providing new economic opportunities, as the use of electricity as a transportation fuel reduces fuel imports, keeps energy dollars in our communities, and reduces transportation costs for households and businesses. And the next benefit that I'll be discussing is resiliency and energy preparedness. In this picture, you can see the country's first fully electric police car, which was put into service in Kingsport, Tennessee in 2014. Resiliency and emergency preparedness are an important topic to consider with regard to electric vehicles, as the resiliency of the transportation sector can be improved through increased deployment of electric vehicles and diversification of all available fuels. As battery storage and vehicle-to-grid solutions improve, electric vehicles can be a valuable resource during disaster relief efforts, in part because many electric vehicles can export energy from their batteries to power emergency response systems, such as communication equipment, traffic lights, or fuel pumps. Having the energy stored in a vehicle means it is mobile and can be driven to locations where power is needed. The ability to bring power where it's needed, even on a local scale, can be an invaluable resource during emergencies.
Hi, I'm Carly Summers. I'm representing Montgomery County, Tennessee. EVs provide an overall reduction in fleet costs and maintenance requirements. Currently, 19 of the 40 electric vehicle options on the market have a base price lower than $37,000, which is the average cost of a new car in the United States. Pricing trends for personal vehicles and fleet EVs are falling, and it's anticipated that trend will continue, making the upfront cost of EVs align more closely with internal combustion vehicles. When you're considering adding an EV to your fleet, you need to take more than the sticker price into account. In order to understand the true cost, you need to look at the cost of electricity versus fuel, along with the maintenance costs. Let's begin by looking at electricity and fueling costs. According to the United States Department of Energy, EVs average 60 to 70% fuel savings over internal combustion engines. To get an idea of what the savings might look like, let's say that you have a vehicle that averages 15,000 miles per year, and the average cost of gasoline is $2.50. Over the course of a year, you're going to spend about $1,562 on gas. Now, if you have that same vehicle and your electric rate is 10 cents per kilowatt hour, your cost to charge your vehicle for the year is going to be $489. That's a savings of over $1,000 for just one vehicle. Another savings you can expect with your EV is lower maintenance costs. EVs have fewer moving parts than electric motors, and they have a single-speed transmission. This simple setup translates into less maintenance over the course of the vehicle's life. When calculating maintenance savings, remember to include the staff time that's performing less maintenance on the vehicle. A New York City fleet recently noted an 89% reduction in annual maintenance costs on their Chevy Volt as compared to the gasoline parts within their fleet. In the past, fleet operators were hesitant to add EVs to their fleet due to fears associated with battery degradation and eventual replacement costs. This is of minimal concern today, as every U.S. manufacturer warranties EV batteries for a minimum of 8 years or 100,000 miles. Lab tests have also indicated that current EV batteries may last 12 to 15 years in moderate climates and 8 to 12 years in extreme climates. And when batteries do need to be replaced, the average cost is only about $5,500. Even considering the cost of a possible battery replacement at the 8-year mark, EVs still have a lower long-term cost than an internal combustion engine. And if you're concerned that there aren't EVs being manufactured to meet your fleet needs, don't worry. There's exciting news on the EV front for every type of vehicle. Almost every major auto manufacturer has commitments to release an electric vehicle at some point within the next 5 to 10 years. Toyota announced plans to generate half of its sales from electrified vehicles by 2025. Volkswagen aims to add EVs to make up 40% of its global fleet by 2030. Cadillac's president said the majority of its models would be electric by 2030 as well, and Volvo's first electric vehicle will go on sale in the United States in early 2021, with plans to release a new EV every year for the next 5 years. And specifically in Tennessee, Nissan manufactures the all-electric Leaf in Smyrna, and Volkswagen has announced that their first EV manufactured in the United States, the ID.4 SUV, will be made in Chattanooga. Lastly, GM recently announced that it will invest $2 billion in its Spring Hill manufacturing plant to build the fully electric vehicle and the all-new luxury classic Cadillac Lyriq. If you're interested in transit, EV currently accounts for 1.8% of the shared mobility fleet, but this is predicted to rise sharply to 80% by 2040. Washington County schools are awaiting the arrival of Tennessee's first electric school bus, and all 4 of the major transit agencies in Tennessee operate or will soon operate electric transit buses and shuttles. For utility fleets committed to electrification, the holy grail is the electrified pickup truck. Pickups represent the largest vehicle segment for most fleets in the utility industry. 6 different vehicle manufacturers are currently working on electric pickups. The first should hit the market by mid-2021. And another thing is range anxiety. A January 2020 study by AAA found 57% of Americans think they'll run out of range while driving an EV, and 58% believe there aren't enough charging locations. However, 95% of EV owners reported they have never reached the end of their range. And on the fleet side, the Energist polled 34 fleet operators who said all were planning to integrate EVs into their fleet, and the majority stated their average daily use would be under 150 miles. That's well under the average EV fleet of 250 miles. A way to minimize or eliminate range anxiety is to have a detailed and dedicated electrification plan in place. The elements of the plan, such as charging station locations and electric connection details, will allow you to plan vehicle routes and charging times so that you can be sure your staff will always be able to get where they need to be.
As a city sets a strategy towards electrifying their fleet, there are several areas to consider. The first area that has had the most success in other cities in Tennessee and nationally is a start with light-duty vehicles. This segment of a city's fleet is often the lowest hanging fruit to electrification because of its cost benefits for maintenance and fueling. The duty cycle and typical daily routes and the diversity of light-duty vehicles available on the market make it very simple to start with that. For Fleet Light, some cities purchase the vehicles and assign them to specific employees for use or place them in a pool car share for employees to use. Some cities have success with both strategies, and in either instance, a fiscal analysis comparing the pros and cons of purchasing versus leasing the vehicles should be considered. A second option to electrify medium and heavy-duty vehicles. The electric vehicle options in this category have been minimal, but are now growing as demand increases and technology improves. Similar to light-duty, the benefits include lower costs for maintenance and fuel. The expected decrease in emissions is even greater, given the duty cycle and the typical average fuel consumption for these vehicle types. As with Fleet Light, a fiscal analysis comparing the pros and cons of purchasing versus leasing these vehicles should be considered. In addition to the fleet used by city employees and services, there are other categories to consider with regard to analyzing fleet electrification. In the public transportation space, transit buses are well positioned to be the next heavy-duty vehicle market segment to significantly electrify. Given their intensive duty cycles, electric transit buses present an opportunity for significant fuel and maintenance cost savings, improved rider experience, and significant reduction in harmful emissions, which result in improved local air quality. There are a number of federal grants that can also provide funding to support the purchase of all electric transit buses and associated infrastructure. School districts can also realize savings by electrifying their bus fleets. Electric school buses save an average of $50,000 over the lifetime due to low maintenance and fuel costs. They can also significantly reduce children's exposure to harmful pollutants and diesel exhaust from conventional buses. Lastly, there are new and emerging all-electrical shuttle bus options on the market. In this space, many private transportation companies have developed creative electric solutions to address last-mile and local transportation goals. The chapter for developing a fleet electrification plan goes into further details on this topic. Now that we have hopefully provided you with a good overview of electric vehicles, let's dive a little deeper into specific areas in the following chapters. Thank you for taking the time to get informed on the best practices towards fleet electrification and increased electric vehicle deployment. We hope this video series provides value to support you in your journey to learn, share, and lead your city in helping us meet our statewide EV adoption goals.